I actually visited the location of my favorite 100 famous views of Edo painted by Hiroshige Ando to see what the scene looks like today. The 102nd, Minowa, Kanasugi and Mikawashima, depicts a red-crowned crane that used to live around present-day Minowa and Mikawashima, and the view of the area. It is said that Hiroshige painted this picture around the south side of the area between the current Minowa and Mikawashima stations, but even researchers do not know the exact location. The map shows this location with a red dashed line. I believe that the view is from Higashi-Nippori 3 Chome looking east, based on comparison of various old maps of the time. The red gradient is shown below. Please refer to the map of Tokyo history map around the time of the Tempo era. Originally, Mikawashima and Kanasugi villages were located in this area, which was a frequent source of flooding overflowing with water from the Sumida River. The wetlands and abundant food supply were very favorable for birds, and many migratory birds gathered here in season. You can see many puddles that look like reservoirs on the map. Now we will actually take a closer look at Hiroshige's painting. This painting was published as a winter painting in May of 1857. A red-crowned crane is depicted as if covered from above, and what appears to be a village is depicted in the distance below it. I suspect that this is a house along the Nikko-Kato. To the left is a slightly larger house, and beside it is depicted a man carrying a balance pole on his way to it. This man was the caretaker of the cranes here, feeding them and taking care of them. Originally, successive shoguns of the Edo shogunate liked to go falconry for training in martial arts. This area in particular was a great place for falconry, as there were wetlands all over the area. The shoguns would come from Asakusa and visit Kazuakahara, Kashiba, Minowa, Mikawashima, and Michiya. Furthermore, cranes used to migrate to this area every October. Since cranes were prized as a sacred bird of good fortune and longevity in those days, a feeding ground for them was set up here, and the shogunate strictly controlled the area around the feeding ground with bamboo barbed wire and straw to prevent humans and dogs from entering. The man on the left is thought to be the Torimi no Nenashi, or Inuban, dog guard, who was in charge of managing the area and watching for wild dogs. Although cranes were cherished, only once a year in December, a falconry called Churuonari was held, in which the shogun would catch 2 cranes. Each hunted crane was put into a white wooden box and sent to the emperor and the crown prince in Kyoto by express mail as a good luck gift. Now, cranes are often referred to as red-crowned cranes in Japan. According to ancient Chinese legend, the crane was a bird that lived in the fairyland, but in the Edo period, crane meat was prized as a luxury food along with swans. The Matsumi clan in Hokkaido exported them overseas as salt cranes. However, this seems to have been either Manazuru crane or Nabezuru crane, and the meat of the red-crowned crane was actually tough and not very tasty. Cranes caught by the shogun's hawks were called akabashi no churu, or cranes of the fist, and were presented to the court, so cranes were considered a bird for the upper class to handle. In fact, Toyotomi Hideyoshi had crucified a person who captured a crane, and the common people believed that capturing a crane was a capital offense. After the fall of the Edo shogunate, the cranes entered a period of great hardship. Hunting of cranes, which had been forbidden until then, became widely practiced among the general public, and overhunting proceeded at a tremendous pace. As a result, the red-crowned crane was thought to be extinct in Japan until it was rediscovered in the Kushiro marshlands in 1924. In 1935, it became a national natural monument, including its breeding grounds, and in 1967, it was designated a special natural monument as a species without a defined area. According to a Hokkaido government survey, as of January 2021, 1,516 cranes had been confirmed, including those in captivity. As a red-crowned crane, this is a relief. Well, I actually went to this place. I went to the intersection of Higashi-Nippori, which I had guessed on my own that it would be in this area. This is the picture looking toward Mikawashima Station. This is the picture looking toward the Nightingale Station. The current view is incorporated into Hiroshige's painting. Well, this is good, but I also inset another picture of a red-crowned crane in Kashiro. In fact, groups involved in the publication of Ukiyo-e were restricted in several ways by the shogunate. If there was even the slightest problem, the publication of Ukiyo-e was immediately banned, and the prints had to be recalled. For this reason, it was essential for Hiroshige and other artists to be considerate of the shogunate by faking the number and visibility of military installations such as deba when depicting the Shinagawa area, and hiding places such as armories and ammunition depots on the sides of Edo Castle with haze clouds. On the other hand, the shogun would capture 2 cranes, a sacred bird whose capture was punishable by death, each year by falconry, and send them to the palace. From the perspective of the cranes, this meant that instead of being cherished and cared for, the shogun offered 2 cranes as sacrifices each year. Crane is the English word for crane, which is the origin of the word for crane, that heavy equipment used to lift heavy objects. The word pecker is also derived from crane's beak, in Japan, which is a tool used to break up hard ground. In this painting, what kind of heavy object was Hiroshige trying to lift up, and what kind of hard object was he trying to smash? Exactly 10 years after the publication of this painting, the Edo shogunate decided to return to the great government.